Tell me, do you ever look at another woman in business, maybe on your Instagram feed, maybe at an event, and ask yourself, how the heck is she so naturally confident? And then you automatically compare yourself to her and you start wondering why you weren't born that way and why you're the one that second guesses herself every time? Well, I have felt that way many times. But guess what? That woman you admire, she wasn't born that confident. She's just learned how to build her confidence muscle, and you can too. Hello, and welcome to the HerBusiness Podcast. I'm Susie Daphnis, I'm your host and the CEO of HerBusiness. Now, most people think confidence is something you either have or you don't have, that it's a fixed trait that certain people are born with, like blue eyes or curly hair. But really, confidence is a skill. It's built through action, above all things, and then repetition and showing proof to yourself that you can handle hard things, not because you were born fearless, but because you've built up that skill set. That's what this episode is all about, taking you from doubt, from fear, from feeling like an imposter and feeling self-doubt to showing up as a self-assured leader in your industry. So here's where I want to start. I want to start by touching on how you've been showing up in the world. So let me ask you, and just answer it to yourself because I can't hear you. I wish I could. Do you feel like you are truly standing in your power? Do you show up confidently and without pause? Do you maybe take a back seat when you really shouldn't? Do you quiet your voice to make room for others in the conversation? Do you dampen your opinions, your experiences in favour of letting someone else shine? Whatever your answers are, now look at the women that you admire most. Maybe it's someone you follow on social media. Maybe it's someone who is your mentor or someone who's absolutely shining bright right now. What traits does she show the world? I can guarantee that the confidence you see in those women is not one that they were born with. They didn't come out of the womb ready to take the world by storm. I have met women who seem unstoppable on the outside but feel like imposters inside. And then I've seen shy, hesitant women transform into these powerful leaders because they've practiced the habits and built their confidence. And because I work with lots and lots of women business owners, I see this myth popping up over and over again. This idea that there's an exclusive club of confident people, and if you weren't born into it, then you are out of luck. I'm just not the confident type, you might have even heard yourself say. But here's the thing, those naturals that you see on stages in front of cameras, speaking so clearly about their businesses and what they believe, they've put in often years of practice. They have faced rejection after rejection. They've likely heard no more times than they've heard yes. But the reason they show up confidently now is because they've kept going after each rejection, after each moment of doubt. Because confidence is not a personality trait. It is a muscle, it's a skill that you can work with and build. So the first step to becoming a more confident leader is to reject that idea. Because simply thinking that confidence is a trait that you don't have and can't acquire could be holding you back. Because if you believe that you weren't born with it, then anytime you feel that self-doubt, you immediately jump back into thinking, well, I'm not cut out for it. I'm just not the confident type. I've never had confidence. And I really want to break the back of that. That's a terrible saying, isn't it? Breaking the back of that. You know what I mean. So there is nothing wrong with you. You are not deficient in any way. It's just that you haven't built the confidence muscle. And I'm going to give you a 5-part system that has worked for me, that has worked for my clients, that has worked for people that I've taught over the years, and you're going to be able to use it right away. Here's the thing. Waiting to do the thing when we are ready, waiting to take action, that actually holds back our confidence. So if you don't stop believing that confidence is something fixed, then it's always going to be difficult for you to take that first step. You will squash the chance of ever becoming confident. All change starts in our mind. And what can be happening if you have this I'm not confident voice on loop in your mind is that you'll start to avoid opportunities that could be helping you grow your voice, your visibility, and your business. And you might think you're being realistic or grounded, but staying in the same room you've always been in because you're afraid of stepping out the door will never make you more confident. Every single person who's done something remarkable has likely felt unready before they started. That keynote speaker that you loved at whatever conference, you bet that she was sweating through her first 20 minutes. That business owner who's making it big in the media and getting great PR? Do you think that she didn't read over her pitch email 20 million times before sending it? So you're not lacking confidence. You're simply lacking the practice of doing the scary thing and surviving it, of building that skill, of building that muscle. And I've seen this in action hundreds of times myself. And it makes me laugh sometimes because I'll hear people say, "You're so confident, Susie." And it'll often happen after a big presentation or an event or something like that. But inside I'm thinking, if only you knew how nervous I was. And when I first started speaking on big stages, I would be shaking in the wings. And I'd be running to the bathroom every 5 minutes to do a nervous wee. Is that too much information? Then I'd go out there and I would deliver anyway, regardless of the fear. And it was during those first few presentations that I realized confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's actually the ability to take action despite it. And I'm going to say that again. Confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's the ability to take action despite it. Because at those presentations, in my instance, people saw the end result, the composed, smiling presenter, not the hours of practice or the preparation or the deep breaths or the nervous wheeze backstage. And it's the same with anything in business, like asking for a sale. Maybe you're terrified, maybe you're nervous, but you take action anyhow if you want to have a business. So isn't that a relief? You don't have to fix the fear before you move forward, which is what a lot of people think. And fear and confidence can live in the same body at the same time. Trust me, I know. What matters is which one you choose to act from. If I had waited until my fear completely disappeared, I would still be waiting in the wings of my very first speaking gig. But the magic happened. The confidence grew because I walked out onto that stage while feeling terrified. Now, just 2 weeks ago, I was invited to speak to a huge room, hundreds of business owners. I was so freaking nervous trying out new material. But you know what? I got up there, I did my thing, I took the action, and I delivered. Now, did I judge myself that I could have done it better? You bet I did. That is natural for me. But I took action and took the fear away. And so if someone asked me today, would you like to speak on my stage? Would you like to be on my podcast? Would you like to be a guest at whatever? I'm going to say yes, even if it terrifies me, right? Because I want to get better at that confidence. I want to build that muscle again and again. And I'll talk a little later about how anytime we up our game, we try and up level, that confidence is going to vanish again. And so we need to bring it back in. So business is the same as the example I just gave you, whether it's a pitch, a launch, a price increase, working with a dream client, they all happen in the presence of nerves, not in the absence of them, in the presence of fear, not in the absence of it. And that's okay. So that is myth number one, that we think I'm either confident or I'm not. It is a skill that we can learn. The second myth we need to bust about confidence is that it's a blanket over everything. Here's what I mean. We assume that if we became confident, we can bring that confidence into every situation. Once again, that isn't true. It isn't something that can be carried over to every area or situation. We've often learned to work that confidence muscle in different contexts, with different challenges that come up. For example, when I first started HerBusiness, I was not confident in my ability to build the business at all. I understood systems, I understood marketing, and I understood business strategy. I was confident in those areas, but that confidence did not map over to everything else. When it came to putting myself out publicly, or being the face of the brand, or hiring staff, or networking, I felt completely exposed. So in one part of my business, I was decisive, self-assured, but in another, I was second-guessing myself at every turn, and I was avoiding. And what that taught me is that confidence isn't one blanket skill. You can be totally and completely strong in one area and then be learning and a beginner and hopeless, and that's okay, in another. And this is really important that we remind ourselves as business owners that you could be incredible at managing your finance and then feel paralyzed in a sales meeting, that you might crush it running a team but then break into a sweat when you have to raise your prices or do some marketing. Now, confidence is not an all or nothing type of thing. It's area specific. And when you can see it that way for what it is, it takes the pressure off. And I'll talk more later about what happens when we want to become confident in something new, how we approach that. So you can stop saying, I'm not confident, and start realizing I'm building confidence in this area. And that shifts everything, especially if you are self-critical or you find yourself over-analyzing everything you do, like I often do. Then knowing that, I'm not confident right now, but I'm building confidence in this new area in my business. And as business owners, we really want to have strong pillars across multiple areas of business that we feel confident in. That doesn't mean you have to do it all, but that you feel confident, that you understand your finances and planning and marketing and systems and how to manage people and what products and services work. So, myth number 2 is that confidence just doesn't automatically transfer from one area to another. You need to build your confidence in each of the areas that you want to be a master at. The third myth is this. Well, let me go back. The first myth was that some women are just born with confidence. Not true. The second was that confidence is a blanket skill, meaning if you're confident in one thing, you'll be confident in the other. We'd covered that. The third, that once you become confident, that confidence will stick around. And this is an unfortunate one, I know, and it directly contradicts the narrative I hear so often of, I'll do this when I get more confident, or I'll take that opportunity eventually when I have more experience and more confidence. So that's not how confidence works. Once you have it in an area, that doesn't mean it'll stick around. Like we talked about before, this is a muscle we need to work. Now, maybe you've worked up that muscle to be incredibly strong through practice, through repetition, through exposure. But if you've let that muscle lay dormant for years, it's going to lose strength, right? Just like in your body. And that doubt raises itself anytime you up-level your game. So here you are, you're now going to go for bigger contracts. You're now going to introduce a high-priced offer. You're going to put yourself forwards for something bigger than you had before. You're going to try something that scares the heck out of you. What will happen is like, hello, confidence, where did you go? And what will replace it is what the extraordinary author Stephen Pressfield calls the resistance. That is what comes in. It's that voice in your head that says, who do you think you are? And I don't know if you're cut out for this. And I want you to know that that feeling is there to protect you. I'm going to recommend some of Stephen's books in our show notes a little later on. So that's all it's doing. But you get to say, you know what? I've got this. You can relax, voice in my head. I know that I'm up-leveling. I know that I'm not going to feel confidence for a while, but I'm going to build back up. And this myth caught me completely off guard when I transitioned my business model, because I had a lot of success in my 30s leading up to 40. It was a rise of success that I never imagined was possible for me. PJ and I grew multiple multi-million-dollar businesses during our 30s and early 40s. And so when I changed my business model and I sold one business and I closed 2 others down and I removed 90% of my cash flow, I thought that the confidence that I had from the experience I had would continue as I evolved into what am I going to do next. But I was so wrong. When it came to repeat the level of success, then in my late 40s, early 50s, I kind of froze. I wasn't sure if it was possible to do it again. I didn't feel confident that I could grow a business as successful once again. Could I grow? I let go of these 7-figure businesses. Could I grow another 7-figure business? My confidence had just gone out the window. And so I had to build up that confidence again. I had to learn new skills. I changed my business. I did things differently because I was in a new stage of life, new stage of business, and I had to redefine what success looked like for me. And it took time. It took years. I won't lie. It took effort and time and pushing myself to take action before I felt 100% ready. New types of offers, becoming more the face of my business, using new technology that nobody was using at the time, building a new team, having a new way of showing up, being more visible. And because of that, including the time before, I've grown 5 7-figure businesses. And that has been through pushing through uncertainty and the lack of confidence. So I started my first 7-figure business when I was 27. I'm now in my late 50s and I've now grown 5 7-figure businesses. But it hasn't all been roses. Now, since the pandemic, I want to be honest and say that business has been more complicated, more difficult than ever before. The market changed a lot. But also there's this self-imposed, mostly pressure to live up to my past achievements. And there were times where I thought, oh, was I just lucky in my 30s and 40s? Was it just luck? Can I do this again? And because of that doubt, my confidence dipped for a long time because I was measuring myself against an old version of myself rather than focusing on who am I now as a business owner? Who am I now as a woman? So confidence is something we get to learn over and over again. It's not one and done. It's not a learn and forget type of skill. If you're on, one specific boat, like you were confident in the past, it's not like you're not successful now just because you're not doing what you were doing in the past. You just have to learn new skills. You need to work the muscle. You need to take small actions towards how you want to be now. It could be that you need to redefine what your goals are overall. Now, personally, I had to go back to basics when I had this confidence crisis. I had to create a new vision of success. So I created new goals. I celebrated small wins when I got those new goals. I stopped aiming to replace who I was when I was pulling 12-hour days and I had a team of 45 people across 3 countries and I had all the energy and time in the world. And the drive, like I have a different drive now. My drive now is more about purpose. Then it was about acquisition. Could we build these multi-million-dollar businesses? Could we acquire assets that would make us financially free? Different focus. And it takes some humility to go, hey, you know what? I've changed. It takes some courage to say, I'm going to stop doing what I was doing, even though it worked, because that's not who I am now. And that takes building a new level of confidence in who you are now. So I started to focus on showing up daily for my current life in a way that works for me now. I began to set goals that suited the businesswoman that I had become. I started setting different goals, stacking up little successes, reminding myself that I can do difficult things. I also, and this is key, I surrounded myself with mentors and peers who reflected my strengths when I couldn't see them. That combination, small action plus community support, is what rebuilt my confidence and my business faster than waiting for some magic moment to arrive or thinking about the past. And that's the thing, confidence doesn't return in one big ta-da moment. It kind of sneaks back in through consistent, intentional action. Every small step is a deposit into that well of confidence. And when you surround yourself with the right people who see your capabilities, even when you're doubting them, you're able to grow that confidence even deeper. Now, I hinted to this 5-part method that I have used and that I've taught for years and years, and I want to share that with you now. It's my business confidence method, and this is a way to get and keep your confidence. And the nub of it came from years and years of interviewing incredible women business owners for our Business Women's Hall of Fame, which we ran for 20 years, and asking them about confidence. And so I've distilled it into this 5-part model that I'm going to give you now, and I'm going to also put the details in our show notes. So if you don't catch all of it, just know that you can go back and revisit it there. So, but if you have somewhere to write and you can jot this down on a sticky note, then do that. So the first part of this business confidence method is purpose. So where we want to start is to have a purpose about what we're doing. So to have true lasting confidence, you need to have a compelling purpose, a vision bigger than yourself, a big why behind what you're doing. So my big why is to help women create lives they love through their businesses, is to help them see their true potential through their business. So when I'm nervous about getting on a stage, when I'm doubting myself before filming content, when I'm questioning, should I make that offer, I stop thinking about me and I think about my purpose. And we are often so much braver when we do things for others. And you are likely doing what you do because there's someone you want to help. So have them very clearly in your mind and your big why as you think about your confidence. I will wake up every day for my women and be confident for them and let them borrow my confidence because they are my purpose. This leads to part 2, and that is passion. What is the fire in your belly? What is it that gets you rolled up and ready to make change? What has been or can be the power of your impact? Knowing the impact that you can have, that you've made, that has come from that fire in your belly is going to keep you confident. It isn't just a key to confidence just in business, it's all parts of our life because we need to have something that lights us up. We want to feel that fire. Maybe you left your job many years ago to feel that fire again. Maybe it's exactly why you started your business in the first place. Maybe you have a cause that you are so passionate about that is why you do what you do, all right? So it's related to your purpose because you have a passion for something, and action and results come from loving what you do and doing what you love. And so we have our purpose, why I do what I do, and our passion. What is it that I really love to do? There's the why I do it and what do I love to do. And both of those will have you show up more confidently. The third part of the business confidence method is people. When you surround yourself with the right people, and the women in the Hall of Fame said this to me over and over again, and it is something I know from my own experience, when you surround yourself with the right people, your confidence builds. Now, that can be your team, that could be your mentors, that can be your peers, that can be your network. These are people who cheer you on, but it's also people who challenge you, who ask more of you than you do, who know your potential even when you can't see it. And it also, comes into play in the opposite. If you have naysayers around you or people who never see the possibility of your dream, who think you're aiming too high, that will drain the confidence from you. This is so important. I'm so careful about who I spend time with. And you can choose your business community. You can choose the tone of the groups that you're a part of, and know that you are around people who are lifting you up and not bringing you down. For me, my mastermind, my peers, my friends, my network, my advisory board, the people I spend the most time with, support me in being better and playing a more aligned game. Maybe not the game that I was playing before, but the game that I want to play now, where my goals lie now, a game that I'm aligned with. And here's where this gets really important, because something sneaky can happen when we make the decision to reach higher, to upgrade our lives, our people who we surround ourselves with, to grow our business. And I mentioned it earlier. It's what Stephen Pressfield talks about in his books as the resistance. And the resistance is the voice in the back of your head telling you to back off, be careful, go slow, compromise. It's trying to keep us small because it thinks that we will stay safe. It'll stay safe. But the best way to battle that resistance is the people around you. So surround yourself with people who will hear your wild ideas and big goals and support them. People who have your back as you explore and you grow. And your people are who you can turn to when you have a lapse in confidence, when that doubt pops in, when you're trying to level up. They can pull you out of the decline. And that's why I love the HerBusiness community so much, because our members are such champions for each other. These are women who truly get each other, they see each other, they support one another. That's the part of the culture that we foster. So that is number 3, people. The fourth part of our confidence method is preparation. Now, I'm going to explain this one. It's actually really simple. We develop confidence when we have the skills and the knowledge, not hope alone. And it comes in practicing the skills that will allow us to be better business owners, greater communicators, better marketers, better leaders, and so on. So prepare, practice improving your writing, honing your voice, learning how to speak to a camera, getting comfortable on that stage, making your offer, managing a team, writing a business plan, crafting a budget. These are fundamentals of profitable, sustainable businesses. We can't just stay stuck in what we feel confident in. We want to develop, going back to what I was saying earlier, skills in other areas of business. So you want to prepare and keep preparing, studying, learning, growing. I remember I was asked a number of years ago to be a panelist on a TV show called The Dragon's Den. It's kind of the precursor to today's Shark Tank. And so I had to be on camera in a way that I'd never been before. And so I went and got a coach on how to be on camera. And I practiced and I practiced. When I started podcasting, over 10 years ago now, well over 10 years, I got a voice coach. When I wanted to get more into the media, I did a course on how to write media releases that get read and turned into media stories. Now, this might sound obvious, but sometimes some women don't put in the practice, the study, knowing that you're going to suck at something until you get better at it. And the better you get at it, the more confident you are. And so I've been marketing since my early 20s when I got my first marketing job inside of Virgin, the company Virgin by Richard Branson. Right? But then every time the market changed or I tried a different strategy, my confidence left. I had to build the skill. So that's what preparation is about. I encourage you to think like a lifelong student who is always preparing for the next version of her. That learning, that practice, that study is going to pay off in confidence down the road. Every successful business owner that I know remains a student no matter how long they've been in business. And this prepare step is a huge part of what we do inside the HerBusiness Network, where we break down our training and mentoring and resources into our 8 HerBusiness growth zones. These are 8 areas of business that every sustainable, successful business has working for them. And we're going to be naturally good at some things and not good at others. And the growth zones include areas like sales and marketing, products and services, managing people, growing a team, managing our money, planning, technology, systems, mindset. So these are the areas in which we prepare, we grow our skills. And as I said, we have a ton of resources for members. We kind of like have our HerBusiness School, which is where they can access all those resources whenever they want them. So that is number 4, preparedness. And the final step in our method is another P word, is power. This is my favorite because my favorite personal definition is of power is the ability to do. That means the ability to take action. Confidence grows when you take action because reaching more people, communicating our value, all takes action. It takes action to get the skills we want, to get the clarity we need, and to take the time out of the day-to-day to reflect, to plan, to study, and do the hard and deep work. It takes action. That is you in your power, taking steps outside of your comfort zone. And remember, this doesn't mean they have to be huge, bold, risky actions. Baby steps are still steps forward. The more you act, the more wins you take. The more in your power you are, the more wins you create. The more wins you create, the more you believe in your ability to succeed. And that belief fuels more action, and the cycle keeps turning. Now, here's something I heard once at a seminar. You can't steer a parked car. You've got to be in motion first. That's what taking action is about. That's where building your confidence begins. And so if power is our ability to take action, this is how you build your confidence. Even if the movements are small, any action is good action. You can't take action knowing all the things, right? We're never going to know all the things. But take some actions that you know you can't fail at. Share an opinion in a group chat. Raise your hand in a safe environment and ask a question. Chat with a mentor or a peer about your next step. So here's the 5 parts of the method. I want to give them to you again. First is purpose. Second is passion. Third is people. Fourth is preparation. And fifth is power, our ability to do. This is a framework that I have stood by for years and I continue to stand by. And there's something else there's 2 things I want to invite you to do. And trust me, I don't love doing this, but I do it, even though it might be reluctantly at times. And that is do something difficult every day. Confidence grows when you prove to yourself that you can handle discomfort, whether that's making a difficult phone call, trying a new marketing strategy, diving into your numbers, filming one more reel for social media. And that my bonus tip, beyond the business confidence method that I share with you, is finding a way to capture your wins. Like keeping a confidence file, a folder or a notebook where you write down compliments you get or testimonials from clients or achievements. And on low confidence days, it's proof that you can do it. Now, inside of Her Business, we have a Slack channel. Slack is our inter-office communication platform. We have a channel called Wins and Shares where we share our wins. Plus, at our weekly meetings, we acknowledge each other and ourselves for our weekly achievements. And in our Slack channel, anytime we get a great comment from a client, we screenshot it and we put it in there and we share it with the team. But if you take one thing from this episode, it is that action precedes confidence. That is, confidence comes after we take action. So don't wait to be confident to act. Take action, even if it's a tiny step. That is how your confidence is built. That is how your confidence is sustained. I said I had one final thing, but I've got one final thing, and that is about self-worth and confidence. And here's the thing, your self-worth is your baseline. It's who you are no matter what. It has infinite value. Confidence is how you feel about your ability to do something in any given moment. So your lack of confidence should not diminish your self-worth. You are incredible. You just need to build that confidence muscle. We don't want to tie those 2 things together. That's a great recipe for being really down about yourself. You want to separate those things. You want to give yourself permission to have a bad day or make a mistake without it shaking your core belief in yourself. Right? You stop making confidence a measure of your value and you start treating it like a skill that you can improve, a muscle you can grow as long as you work at it. Now, this topic is one of the many reasons I love the Her Business Network so much. Each one of the 5 steps in our method is integrated into everything we do inside of the community. And there are workshops and downloads and masterclasses and live events and peer-to-peer accountability groups that all foster these 5 steps and confidence. And there are women all around you setting an incredible example of what it means to take action. And sometimes those actions are huge, and sometimes for you they were like, well, that's a no-brainer for me. But we celebrate every single person's leveling up, becoming more confident, taking action. And if you'd like to join us inside the Her Business Network, we are now taking applications. You just need to apply. We'll have a look at your application. And if you look like a good fit for the network, then we'll offer you a place in the network. And you can do that at HerBusinessNetwork.com. You can do that at HerBusinessNetwork.com. We'll put a link to that and some of the other resources that I've mentioned in our show notes at HerBusiness.com/3 324, which is the number of this episode, herbusiness.com/324. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, I would love it. It would be a huge favour to me if you would leave a rating, a review, or a comment. You can do that on Apple Podcasts. You can shoot me a direct message on Instagram. You'll find us at HerBusiness on Instagram. If you are a member, you can put something in our members group. And once again, on our website at herbusiness.com/324, you'll find a summary of today's episode, the 5 parts of our confidence method, and any other resources that we've discussed. Now, if you are new to the show, thank you for being here. Go ahead and subscribe wherever you're listening and join us because we have great interviews coming up. We've got more inspiring stories and lessons from successful female entrepreneurs. I appreciate you being here. I'll see you next week right here on the Her Business Podcast. Bye for now.